What's up, guys? Unknown FX with the House of Financial Markets, back with the Monday Market Quickie video. I hope you've all been well and you haven't missed us too much. We've been busy crunching through the economic data, crunching through the speculation around the US elections that's coming up, the Federal Reserve interest rate decision that's coming up later this week as well, this Thursday, and basically taking a deeper look at how that's going to affect financial markets moving forward as we come to the year end and into the early quarter of 2025 and the second quarter of 2025. So with that being said, your insider Wall Street trader, institutional trading, technical and fundamental expert is back. So where are we with gold USD and what is the move? Well, let me be honest by telling you that right now, as institutional traders within our community, we have the target of gold at 3,000. That is where gold is going. Now it's just about when this will happen, right? Don't panic. If you're a part of our community, you're going to get the alerts, you're going to get the trade setups, you're going to be positioned in a manner to be able to take advantage of the move when it does come. We know tomorrow, in the next few hours, of course, the 5th of November, the United States elections. I think anybody on Wall Street and anybody who has any real financial acumen knows that this is one of the most important US elections in the history of US elections. You've got two candidates with different outlooks on policy, different macroeconomic and market policy, and so it's going to be very key to see what essentially will happen with the US election outcome, including the Federal Reserve interest rate decision that's happening on Thursday. And as it stands, it appears as if the market is expecting a 25 basis points hike. That being said, it goes without saying that a 25 basis hike would only be a temporary relief, because as it stands, inflation is still too high. And so the question now becomes, depending on which candidate wins the election, would then depend if the interest rate continues to go down or if we see a revolutionary event whereby inflation continues to go up based on the candidate that wins. And as a result, within the first quarter of 2025, shall I say, within the first quarter of 2025, you're already starting to hear calls for a rate increases, because we already know the US debt is unsustainable. 35 trillion in debt institutionally is just not viable and feasible for one of the powerhouses of the global economy in the United States. They need to find a way to reduce that debt. That is going to be one of the priorities, unless they really intend on crashing the market and we get a real proper financial reset, where we would then see institutional entities, private equity, corporations, and even countries start to look for alternatives when it comes to a monetary system. And we're already seeing that sort of collusion of the possibility of that starting to happen with entities such as BRICS, which when it first started, people referred to it almost as if it's a mom and pop shop, some sort of idea that these countries have to come together and try to develop a currency that's backed by a commodity, that commodity being gold. But what we've seen over the last 18 months is that the BRICS heat has started to pick up some steam. And at this point, you ask yourself, well, what would it look like? What would happen in the event that the US is unfortunately able to prioritize reducing the debt, right? That would be a crazy event. But if we go to the charts, let's go focus on the 4-hour right now. What you see is, ladies and gentlemen, all you're seeing right now is just gold having a retracement, coming back to a key level of resistance, prices on the right in blue. And what we essentially would be looking for is, we know at some point price will go to the top. Listen to me. If you are a retail trader, don't focus so much so on the technicals just yet. Focus on understanding the fundamentals. And the fundamentals is that gold is on its way up. It's just a matter of when. So any retracement in gold that you see, any pullback in gold that you see is only temporary. right? And so bearing that in mind, you understand why you have to be positioned and prepared accordingly for when gold starts to take off. Because as you can see with my target levels outlined, the first target will be 2.8, the second target will be 2.9, and then we go all the way to 3,000. Those are the levels that we're looking at. So bear that in mind, right? And if you're part of our community, that is something that we're working on. We stay up to date with the relevant news and the fundamentals, and then how to integrate that into our trading approach. If you want to play in between these black bar resistance and support levels, prices on the right in blue, that's okay. Take a few pips from the market, enjoy what you can, put your stop loss at entry once you've hit target one. But the real move is gold upwards. We're not really, as institutional traders and our trading style, we're not necessarily concerned in the little pips that are there with the pullback. We are focused on the big move of gold that's going to happen. And we are expecting this move to happen anywhere between the conclusion of the elections all the way into the first 2 quarters of 2025. So by June. If you're a part of our community, and we'll start sharing those links and making it accessible to people to start joining the community, to learn how to invest and be a part of this move. We also focus on stocks. We also focus on crypto. Crypto is another phenomenon that has all the potential depending on which candidate wins. Of course, we already know that if Donald Trump does win, that would be much more favorable for crypto, as he's already expressed some of his plans around crypto revolution and what he would do if he gets into office when it comes to developing crypto and making it an actual mainstream type of financial mechanism that can be used for everyday life and transactions, as opposed to how it's currently being used right now, which is still very below the limits it can be used for, right? So that's another thing to pay attention to. But right now, going into the US elections, we're focused on the three main financial derivatives, and that would be gold, the US dollar, and crypto. That is what we're looking at in our community. We're already preparing our setups. We did have a trade last week. We were able to take profit in that, a gold trade, because remember we had the NFP last week. Number did come, it missed expectations, but it's nothing to be too concerned about. Federal Reserve is looking at a 25 basis point hike, cut. And so with that being said, we already positioned accordingly to take advantage of that on Thursday. Links will start getting posted about how you can join our community. But in the meantime, go ahead, like, share, subscribe. And if there's anything or any questions that you might have, please leave them in the comments section. And we're definitely going to be looking at that and responding to that. This is a new channel, by the way. This is something that we've just started to work on as we're trying to get as many people involved in the fact that a big financial reset type change is coming. And this is an opportunity for people who are looking for an alternative means of income, or anybody, young or old, that wants to get their ducks in a row in order to be able to plan and secure their financial future. So it doesn't hurt to learn a new skill, but it's definitely going to hurt you when you miss an opportunity. So bear that in mind. And with that being said, note to self, this video was all about what we think might happen with the Federal Reserve interest rate decision, elections, and the gold targets for us. Gold to 3,000. You heard it here first. I know you wouldn't have heard it on many platforms, and if you did, it's definitely not mainstream. But here at Unknown FX with the House of Financial Markets, we're the ones saying it. Gold to 3,000. This is in the short to medium term. Long term, if I told you where the price of gold was going, you would not believe me. But it would definitely be above 10,000. Don't ask me how I know, as you already know. My nickname is the Wall Street Insider. I do have that experience. I do have that network. I do have that access. But that's between me and the inner community. That being said, all the best to you all this trading week. Trade with caution. Remember, it's not about how much money you make, but it's about how much money you don't lose. Risk management is everything, right? Take care of yourselves. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back with the relevant updates as time goes. Cheers.